Hello and welcome. You're watching Best of the Bets. My name's Christina Nicolaides and we're looking at the FA Cup this weekend and some European action. As usual, I've got our regular guests. I've got Sam Diamond, editor of bestofthebets.com, and bookie extraordinaire Gareth Walker from Heaven Bet. So we're going to look at the FA Cup.
Yeah, it should be a very exciting FA Cup this year. I think more teams than ever desperate to win it for whatever reasons, which we'll discuss. But Heaven Bet have got a promotion on the FA Cup. It's called Manchester Madness. We ran it before the third round. It was so popular that we're bringing it back again. If you place a bet on the outright, so a team to win the FA Cup, if either of the Manchester clubs, either United or City, win the trophy, then Heaven Bet will refund losing bets on anyone else.
OK, fantastic. So actually looking at then the Manchester games, Stoke versus Manchester City.
Prices for this game, Stoke 5.1, the draw 3.7 and City 1.65 to win at Stoke.
I like a Stoke win for this game.
Well, the statistics would suggest this one could be a draw. The last 4 games between the two clubs at the Britannia Stadium in the Premier League have all finished 1-1. Stoke were beaten quite comfortably at the Etihad in December, but at the Britannia, as we know, they're such a different proposition, despite that 4-goal mauling by Chelsea last time out. I don't think there'll be goals in this. Aguero's only just coming back to fitness, and I think this is going to be quite low scoring. I would not be surprised to see this go 1-1 again.
1-1, which is 7.2. Interesting that you're keen on Stoke. Maybe a month ago I would have been really looking to back them, but I've been disappointed with Stoke. They had a really poor Christmas. I don't know if it's the lack of preparation time there or whether top-class teams are sort of working out how to get past the defence. A couple of maybe key personnel missing. But they haven't been the same. They've still taken the fewest shots on goal in the Premier League. And whereas for the majority of the year last year, they were really tight defensively. That seems to have gone. And although City have got a poor record at Stoke, haven't won there for quite some time, I believe.
99, I think.
99, the last time they won there. But I think City will just have too much class. I'm taking City to edge this 2-1, which is available at 7.6. Those that are keen on City, you get 1.65 for the win.
Yeah.
But maybe look at the draw half-time City full-time market. You can bump that up to 4.5. And I really like that player because I think it will be very cagey. Fairly tight early on. I just think City's extra class will tell in the end.
Of course, this is a repeat of the 2011 final. That was a very tight, cagey affair. Yaya Toure was the match winner that day, and it's worth remembering he won't be around this weekend. He's obviously at the African Cup of Nations. So that's why I'm going to go for the draw, 3.7. I like it.
OK. And then we move to the red side of Manchester United versus Fulham.
Your beloved half, yeah. United 1.25, the draw's 5.4. Fulham is for the second week running. We're talking about Fulham at a big price, 10.9. Can they do a bit better this week?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think Fulham's biggest game of the season comes on Wednesday when they play West Ham in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Such is the situation they've got themselves into in the league.
All the Premier League teams are playing again Tuesday or Wednesday next week, and a lot of them will have half an eye on that. So I think that gives an interesting angle betting-wise.
Yeah.
For example, you look at United, who's going to score the goals? Van Persie's the man that immediately springs to mind, but you'd have to say it's pretty likely that he's not going to be starting in the game, which then gives you some real value elsewhere. The bet that stands out for me here is Hernandez to score the first goal. He's available at 5. You'd think it'd be a comfortable United win. Let's not forget both teams needed last-minute equalisers to get this far. But yeah, I think United to win. I
think that the problem Fulham have is that they don't really have any kind of strength in their squad this season, so it's highly unlikely that they'll make sort of sweeping changes. Dimitar Berbatov, of course, will return to Old Trafford, but I can't really see that having much of an effect. It might lift his game, but he's only scored twice in the last 12 games.
Yeah.
So
he's 10 if you do fancy him to score first.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's going to be quite a lacklustre game, to be honest. I think that could lead to a comfortable yet small victory for United. I'd say 2-0.
2-0, which is 5.6. 3-0 if you're a bit more optimistic. 7.5, or the both teams not to score is 1.85, which is another angle if you think it's going to be fairly low scoring. Fulham will struggle. 1.85 that one or both teams keep a clean sheet there.
What other games do we fancy?
Well, the game I'm very interested in is well, apart from the non-leaguers, but I like Brighton against Arsenal. I've been fairly critical of Arsenal recently. Arsenal have proved this season several times that if they're given the opportunity to play, they can play some really good football, and they can look really, really good.
That goal from Podolski.
Great going, look really fantastic going forward, as you say. Carved West Ham up. So then you look and think, well, what do we know about Brighton? I think they've got a really, really solid foundation there. First season in the Championship, but they've really impressed me when I've seen them this season. So I think at the prices, which is Brighton 5.1, my potential upset for the round is Brighton at 5.1.
I think if you're going to look at big prices, I kind of look down the card, and the only one that really sort of stands out for me is Aldershot at Middlesbrough. They've shown a certain amount of cup pedigree under Dean Holdsworth in the last couple of years, and they're much improved in the league since Christmas. Middlesbrough have been on a bit of a poor run of late,
Wobbling a little bit, yeah.
And I think if they really want to concentrate on their promotion push in the Championship, they'd probably be well advised to sort of just to get out of the cup. So Aldershot might take advantage of any frailties there. I think the two non-league teams versus Premier League teams are well worth looking at. We haven't seen a non-league team shock a top flight team since 1989 when Sutton beat Coventry. I don't think we're going to see one this weekend, although both Macclesfield and Luton will be giving it a real go.
Come on,
I like Macclesfield to beat Wigan.
Macclesfield are 6.5 at home to Wigan. The draw's 4, Wigan 1.5, and you sort of look at that 1.5 and think that's pretty good. You get odds on for this is a Premier League team against a non-league team.
Wigan overcame a very tricky tie against Bournemouth in the last round, so I think they're well equipped to deal with Macclesfield.
But they had a great win over Cardiff last round, so I mean, I wouldn't write them off. It's not a bet I'll be having personally, but I certainly wouldn't put you off.
I'm not writing it off, and I'll be cheering them on, but I just think there's too big a gap to bridge. And
the other one, which is actually the one I'm more tempted by at the prices, is Luton. Luton are available at 9 to win at Norwich. Norwich are 1.3, the draw 5.1. Our betting guru Mike has talked in the past about how Norwich sort of wait for the opposition, and they're very sort of defensively minded. So if they were going to a big team and looking to nick a result, you'd maybe fancy them at a big price. But at home, where the emphasis is on them, I mean, they should win. Yeah, I certainly think this could be tight. I think Luton could sneak a draw here, actually. 1-1 is 8.1. The draw, 5.1, I like here. I mean, one way of playing the two big teams, if you go for Wigan and Norwich both to win in 90 minutes, so basically you're getting about even money. So if you do think, well, the class will tell, those two teams will win, they'll both get through, play Wigan and Norwich in a double, and you're getting, it's just a shade under even money.
So you mentioned Mike Holden there. We're going to find out what Mike Holden has to say on the FA Cup this weekend.
I think Everton look good value to beat Bolton. Arsenal should win at Brighton. Looking further down, you've got Norwich against Luton, non-league Luton. I can't see them causing another upset. There's Reading against Sheffield United. Sheffield United are in poor form at the moment, low on confidence. And, I can just see it being a straightforward exercise for quite a lot of Premier League teams.
OK, so we've heard what Mike Holden has to say. Gareth?
Norwich, Everton, Reading and Arsenal, put them all together and your accumulator pays 5.5, which is a very nice bet to have, I would say. Right,
so who do we think is going to win the Cup then?
Well, the betting, City and United joint favourites at 4.7, Chelsea 5.2, and then Arsenal and Spurs come at 9, both at 9, and then the two Liverpool clubs 11, and then beyond those 7, really, it's take your pick.
Unfortunately, I like Chelsea. They've got a remarkable recent record in the competition. They've won 4 of the last 6.
Yeah, as long as they avoid kicking ball boys as well, I'd imagine. I actually like Liverpool here, 11, big price. Certainly with the Heaven Bet offer of the refund if either of the Manchester teams winning, it's worth looking away from those two, finding a bit of value elsewhere, and I think they could have a good cupper, and it means a lot to Brendan Rodgers, I think.
OK. Remember, if you want to place your bets, it's www.heavenbet.com, and you can now follow us on Twitter at Best of the Bets. We're going to start discussing the Bundesliga.
Yes, another promotion from Heaven Bet. If you back a team to win their match in the Bundesliga this weekend, if they are ahead at half-time but they do not win the game, then we will refund losing bets.
OK, so the first fixture we're going to look at is Hanover versus Wolfsburg.
Hanover 2.2, the draw 3.6, and Wolfsburg 3.4.
I think the first thing with this game is it's surprising to see them so close in the table, just 2 places and 1 point separate them, especially when you consider that Hanover absolutely annihilated Wolfsburg 4-0 back in the early part of the season. But Wolfsburg since then, since they sacked Felix Magath as manager, have really come on. And they've given Diego a much freer role in the team, and obviously he's showing his class once again. So they've moved up the table. But I really like Hanover. I've liked them all season. They're a great counter-attacking team. They've got loads of goals in them.
Hanover, a great stat, I love this. Hanover are the second most clinical side in Europe this season. They're behind only Barcelona, more clinical than Manchester United, more clinical than anyone else except for Barcelona. And that is basically that they have scored, they've only taken 5.5 shots for each goal that they've scored. Extremely clinical. I think I look at that stat a little bit differently from Sam. Sam sees that as, they're very good going forward, they're going to score a lot of goals. I mean, the other way of looking at it is to think, well, actually, they're not creating that many chances, they're just brilliant at putting them away. Can they continue with that ratio?
Yeah.
And I'd question whether they can, really. They're on the slide, third early in the season, down to 11th. Wolfsburg on the rise. It's a team on the slide against a team on the rise. So I'm prepared to take a chance on Wolfsburg at the prices.
I think Hanover's sort of drop has had a lot to do with a very busy Europa League schedule as well. But I think they do create chances. In Shabaluk's Hushti on the left wing, they've got someone with a great left foot. He assisted all 4 goals in that 4-0 win earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So I think they've got plenty of goals in them. Quite an interesting story coming out of Hanover this week. They brought in centre-half Franke as a physical presence at the back to win things in the air. And when he arrived, he was actually 9 centimetres shorter than they originally believed.
Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
Is that the same way you got the job here, by wearing those big heels?
Yeah, we can only presume that Franke turned up for that trial in those heels.
Thanks for that, Gareth.
But Hanover, they're almost the Everton of the Bundesliga. I think 13 of their 18 games this season have seen both teams to score. I think they'll prevail in this derby. I think it'll be 3-2, but both teams to score is the bet I'm going to go for.
3-2, which is 16.9, and the both teams to score
1.5.
1.5, that's available. Yeah, I'm going the opposite way, really. I'll go Wolfsburg 1-0 at 9.9.
Moving on to the next fiction, I just hope I say this team right. Mönchengladbach versus Dusseldorf.
I'm now going to ask you to spell it.
Well, I'll spell out the prices, which are 1.7 Mönchengladbach, 3.9 the draw, and Fortuna Dusseldorf 5.7.
Dusseldorf beaten 3-2 last week, as tipped up by Gareth, and to be honest, the 3-2 defeat flattered them. They were very poor. But this is the Niederrhein derby. It's a big local derby. I've got a real soft spot for Mönchengladbach, along with Montpellier in Ligue 1. They were the success story of last season.
Yeah.
What they achieved was fantastic. Qualified for the Champions League. It didn't quite work out for them this time. They got knocked out in the qualifying stages. But under Lucien Favre, they've been fantastic, particularly at home.
They've drawn 3-1-2.
Well, it's a 10-match unbeaten run they're on now, so I don't think they'll be losing this derby. It's whether they've just got enough to get by. I think they have. Again, another great left foot in Juan Arango. He's having his own personal goal of the season competition this year. But they've really suffered without when Marco Reus went to Dortmund, and they also lost Dante to Bayern Munich. So it's been a big job for them now. Goals have been in short supply, but I think when you have got someone like Arango, you can always get something out of somewhere. I'm going to back them to nick this derby. 1-0. 1-0,
which is 5.5. Yeah, I'm looking for a fairly cagey game here. I think under 2.5 goals is 1.8. 1-1 I like 7.2. And Arango, you mentioned, he's 6.8 to score first. Incredibly, these are two very shot-shy teams, second and third fewest shots on goal in the Bundesliga. So I think goals will be in short supply here.
OK, and best bet for Saturday?
Well, I'm going to go for Brighton at 5.1 to beat Arsenal.
Nice bet. I think I'm going to go for the draw between Stoke and Man City. I like it following that trend of the 1-1 games at Britannia.
That's 3.7. And what's yours?
I'm going to go Macclesfield to beat Wigan.
Oh, I like your style. 6.5.
Thank you very much.
No need to go for a correct score when you're going for big prices like that. Just the outright. Any score will do you.
6.5 Macclesfield, 3.5 on the game getting postponed. So.
What, because of the weather?
Yeah.
Are we taking a bet on one?
Have you been to Macclesfield before? It's very cold.
To place your bets on this weekend's action or to check out any of the odds that we're offering on this weekend's games, you need to head to www.heavenbet.com and follow us on Twitter at Best of the Bets. After the break, we'll look at Sunday's games and the European action. See you then.
Betting site from Poker Heaven.